faithfully sharing valuable insights by interpreting great books from around the world. Hello, this is Sally with the Book Talk. Today, the book we're discussing for you is Telomere. The subtitle is The New Science of Youthful Health and Longevity. Everyone hopes for health and longevity. Ancient emperors sought immortality by concocting elixirs of life, and modern humans have never stopped pursuing longevity. With the advancement of science, people have discovered the secret of longevity hidden within everyone's body. At the same age, some people are plagued by illness and look old, while others are healthy and appear very young. All of this is related to something in the human body called telomeres. The book on telomeres introduces the current research status in easy-to-understand language, revealing the relationship between telomeres and longevity, helping us avoid potential risks. And so, one more day. The book also mentions how to protect telomeres through changes in diet, behavior, and more to extend healthy years. The book has two authors, Elizabeth Blackburn and Alyssa Epple. Elizabeth, together with other scientists, discovered the role of telomeres and telomeres in aging, winning the 2009 Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine. She is a member of the U.S. National Academy of Sciences and the Royal Society and was named to Time magazine's list of the 100 most influential people. The other author, Alyssa, is a leading psychologist in stress, aging, and obesity research. She is a member of the National Academy of Medicine and has received multiple research awards from Stanford University's Behavioral Medicine Society and the American Psychological Association. 1. Boston. It can be said that these two authors are the most authoritative spokespersons on the topic of telomeres and aging. Now, I'll introduce this book in 3 parts. First, what are telomeres and telomerase? What is their relationship with health or aging? Second, what factors affect the length of telomeres? Third, what methods can protect telomeres and extend healthy years? First, let's look at what telomeres and telomeres are. Telomeres are located at the ends of chromosomes, composed of simple, repetitive, and non-coding DNA sequences. Non-coding means it does not participate in protein coding and contains no genetic information. DNA itself consists of 2 anti-parallel chains, containing 4 basic units called bases, represented by the letters A, T, C, G. A always pairs with T, and C always pairs with G, thus forming base pairs. The DNA of telomeres has bases T, Ta, G, 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 G on the first strand, and the complementary bases on the second strand are C, 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 Ta, A. These 2 strands form the double helix of telomere DNA, repeating continuously, and the length of telomeres can be measured by the number of repeats. Telomeres exist to protect chromosomes. As cells divide and regenerate, they need to ensure that chromosomes carrying genetic instructions are passed on accurately. Otherwise, various problems could arise in the next generation, but cell division poses risks to chromosomes and the genetic material within them. Without protection, chromosomes and genetic material can easily unravel. Chromosomes might break, fuse with others, or mutate. If we compare human chromosomes to a shoelace, then telomeres are like the plastic aglets at both ends. They form small caps at the ends of chromosomes, protecting the genetic material from unraveling. Every time a cell divides, the valuable coding DNA inside it, which makes up genes, is copied completely once. But at the same time, with each division, telomeres lose some bases. So, as we age and cells divide repeatedly, telomeres become shorter. When telomeres become too short, cells may stop dividing. Once cell division stops, they can't renew themselves and gradually age. Everyone is born with different telomere lengths. Some have shorter telomeres from birth, while some lucky individuals have longer ones, determined by genes. Just like genes determine height and appearance, after birth are telomeres doomed to keep sacrificing themselves, getting shorter with each cell division? Does it have any self-repair function? This leads us to the miraculous telomeres. While studying telomeres in tetrahymena, Elizabeth discovered that tetrahymena's telomeres sometimes actually lengthened. Tetrahymena has always been Elizabeth's key experimental subject because its nucleus contains 20,000 tiny chromosomes, all uniform in length and size, making it ideal for telomere research.
Oh,
After discovering that their telomeres could lengthen, Elizabeth and her graduate student Carol designed experiments and found an enzyme that can add new DNA to telomeres during cell division, extending them. Elizabeth and Carol named it telomerase. Telomerase consists of protein and RNA, using its own RNA template to synthesize the correct DNA sequence, rebuilding chromosome ends to replace lost telomere bases, thereby extending telomeres. What's the relationship between telomeres, telomeres, and human health and aging? We know cells are life's fundamental units, but they aren't static after birth. They constantly renew. Different cells renew at different rates. Intestinal villus cells renew in days, while bone cells may take a decade. This renewal ensures proper bodily function and health vitality. As mentioned earlier, telomeres shorten with each cell division. When they become critically short, cells stop renewing and begin aging.
Once cells age, their internal power stations, mitochondria, malfunction, creating an energy crisis that prevents normal function.
This happens across cell types. Aged pancreatic cells ignore insulin regulation signals, causing blood sugar disorders. Aging hematopoietic stem cells disrupt blood cell production ratios, causing blood diseases. Cellular aging harms the body in various ways. Externally, this manifests as increased diseases, entering illness-dominated years rather than healthy aging. Let's do a quick self-test. Does your appearance and physical condition match your actual age or seem younger or older? This simple question reveals crucial information. Those looking older or physically worse than their age often have very short telomeres. Shortened telomeres correlate with many aging-related diseases: diabetes, cardiovascular diseases, immune dysfunction, and specific cancers. While telomeres helps extend some telomeres, we don't have unlimited amounts to squander. Cells barely have enough to rebuild telomeres. As we age, telomerase activity decreases, making telomere shortening inevitable. Sounds pretty hopeless, huh? Like there's nothing to stop the human body from aging. Is that really true? The research by authors Elizabeth and Alyssa not only discovered telomeres and telomeres, but also revealed their relationship with human health. Next, we'll cover the second part: external factors that affect telomere length. Genes influence telomeres, including their initial length and degradation rate, which we can't control. So besides innate factors, what external factors acquired after birth might affect telomere length? Perhaps we can find the secret to health and longevity here. The first factor affecting telomere length is stress. Elizabeth and Alyssa studied telomeres and telomeres in a group of mothers whose children had chronic illnesses. As mothers, they endured tremendous psychological stress while providing long-term care for their sick children. The research team spent years screening subjects and tracking data, with very clear results. And compared to mothers with healthy children, these women had significantly shorter telomeres and less telomeres. The greater the stress and longer the caregiving duration, the shorter the telomeres and less telomerase observed. Now, physiologically, stress affects both brain and body. When the stress response activates, the body enters alert mode. Chronic long-term stress keeps the body in a prolonged state of high alert. And stress hormones elevate while vagus nerve activity weakens. The vagus nerve helps regulate physiological responses. Telomeres continuously erode under such conditions. But how much stress does it take to damage them? Decades of research show a dose-response relationship. Effects occur only beyond certain thresholds. Like occasional drinking is fine, but daily drinking harms health. Similarly, small stress doses don't endanger telomeres. In fact, short-term manageable stress might benefit the body by training stress response capabilities and boosting skills. But evidence confirms chronic stress shortens telomeres. Long-term caregiving, high-pressure work, or severe situations like bullying or abuse. Second, the factor harmful to telomeres is negative thought patterns. What kinds of negative thoughts? A study on British civil servants showed those with stronger cynical hostility tend to have shorter telomeres compared to average people. The most hostile group had 30% higher likelihood of carrying short telomeres. While they appeared to have more telomeres, its activity was weak, unable to effectively repair telomeres. Beyond cynical hostility, pessimism, mind wandering, rumination, and thought suppression also harm telomeres. Data shows pessimists experience faster deterioration when diagnosed with cancer or cardiovascular diseases, with shorter telomeres and lifespans. Facing life's challenges, pessimists feel threatened and incapable, gradually reducing bodily vitality. Hard to imagine mind wandering harms telomeres too? Research finds people are less happy when mind wandering than when focused, as distraction causes internal conflict. For example, when you don't want to do what you're doing, this conflict often brings unhappiness. And Elizabeth and colleagues interviewed over 200 healthy women, asking how much time they spent focused versus distracted in the past week. Measuring their telomeres revealed women reporting the most distraction had telomeres 200 base pairs shorter. Another negative pattern is rumination. So, dear, everyone experiences dwelling on past events, endlessly analyzing, as if more thinking yields better solutions.
But rumination differs from reflection. Reflection is calm, logical analysis that remains positive despite brief regret.
Rumination is an overreaction that rarely solves problems yet traps people in deepening regret. Frequent ruminators are more prone to depression and anxiety, both linked to shortened telomeres. The final negative pattern is thought suppression, a dangerous thinking method. So, what is thought suppression? It means forcing yourself to push unpleasant feelings and thoughts out of your mind. Like when we desperately tell ourselves not to think about something, but instead our brains become completely occupied by that thing. Thought suppression is really hard for the brain. It requires constant monitoring, checking if you're thinking about it, which exhausts the brain and causes rebound effects. Just like dieters who think more about food when trying not to. You can imagine how that goes. Long-term thought suppression leads to stress and depression, both damaging to telomeres. The third harmful factor for telomeres is extreme emotional states, including anxiety and depression. Anxiety is excessive worry about the future, often showing as persistent low-level unhappiness. The anxiety-telomere connection is newer research, but anxiety sufferers tend to have shorter telomeres. The longer anxiety persists, the shorter the telomeres become.
Depression's link to telomeres has stronger scientific backing. A large study of 12,000 Chinese women found depressed women had shorter telomeres, showing dose response like anxiety.
More severe and longer-lasting depression correlates with shorter telomeres. The fourth damaging factor is toxic substances. Telomeres are vulnerable to chemicals. Scientists have identified 7 pesticides linked to significantly shorter telomeres in farmers, like allichlor, permethrin, and DDT. More cumulative pesticide exposure means shorter telomeres. Heavy metals like chromium and lead also damage them. Chromium exists mainly in tobacco, plus indoor dust, soil, vehicle exhaust, and waste incineration. Hence, smokers have shorter telomeres. Lead-exposed children have much shorter telomeres than unexposed peers. The final damaging factor we'll discuss is living environment and biology. Our surroundings shape security and vigilance, affecting physiological stress, emotions, and telomere length. For example, someone in a dangerous neighborhood must maintain constant alertness. Even while returning home at night or resting indoors, Dutch research shows neighborhood satisfaction and safety correlate with telomere length. When Boston, better living environments correlate with longer telomeres. Living environment includes not just pollution and safety, but also community cohesion. Some neighborhoods may look upscale, but if residents distrust each other, constantly sending lawyer letters over renovations or trash disputes, that's no ideal environment either, potentially harming telomeres. With so many telomere damaging factors, how do we protect them to extend healthy years? We'll cover this in part 3. First, stress management. While chronic stress is unavoidable, we can still protect telomeres from its damage. When studying mothers caring for chronically ill children, scientists found some had significantly less stress and longer telomeres. Why? Further experiments revealed most mothers showed threat responses: vasoconstriction, blood sugar spikes, weakened vagus activity, causing physical, mental discomfort. Those anticipating problems before they happened had the strongest threat responses and shortest telomeres. But mothers with longer telomeres showed challenge responses when stressed: accelerated heartbeat, with increased blood flow to heart and brain. Opposite to threat response, this enhances focus and performance, making success more likely. Thus, when challenge response dominates during stress, we resist chronic stress damage. Protecting telomeres. Cultivating challenge response requires mindset shifts. Don't fear racing hearts or imagine failure. When stressed, interpret bodily reactions as signals that your body is helping you perform. Second, neutralize threat perception by listing your core values or priorities when facing stress, like parents prioritizing child safety or someone upholding religious beliefs. Affirming values reduces distractions and dissolves threat perception. Another method called detachment can also neutralize threat perception. Detachment means separating rationality from emotions, observing yourself as an outsider to avoid deep emotional entanglement while maintaining clear thinking. Temporal detachment is another approach. For example, telling yourself this will seem insignificant when recalled 10 years later, effectively reducing stress. Second, how to handle negative thought habits. Everyone has these habits to some degree, like mind wandering or rumination. Since these habits damage telomeres, we must prioritize cultivating resilient thinking to counter negative thoughts. So, how do we develop resilient thinking? First, thought awareness. When negative thoughts arise, it's like your brain gets hijacked, losing self-control. We need mental clarity. Knowing what we're thinking means becoming aware of our thoughts. Certain exercises like meditation or long-distance running help timely thought awareness, promoting emotional release and reducing negativity. Second, self-compassion, not self-depreciating or self-blaming, but treating yourself with the warmth you'd show a close friend. When negativity strikes, highly compassionate people respond differently. No self-berating, letting emotions rise and fade naturally, avoiding excessive pressure while improving thought patterns and anxiety. International research shows mindfulness-based cognitive therapy effectively combats anxiety. Patients with 3 or more depressive recurrences halved relapse rates using this therapy. Here's a 3-minute exercise. Step 1, sit straight, close eyes, breathe deeply, then ask, what am I feeling right now? What am I thinking? What physical sensations exist? Accept your responses honestly, even unpleasant ones. Notice resistance and practice embracing it. Step 2, gather attention onto your breath, accepting the present calm. Step 3, expand awareness throughout your body, noticing hand and foot muscles, releasing tension while accepting yourself fully. Research confirmed benefit. Research shows this mind-body practice can increase telomerase in immune cells or lengthen telomeres. Now, combining toxins and environment. With so many pollutants, we should avoid pesticides, paints, heavy metals, secondhand smoke. Use natural products like additive-free detergents, and avoid plastic bottles, cookware. Even BPA-free plastics may contain other harmful chemicals. Avoid microwaving them. Though plastic products may claim microwave safety, while we can't easily change neighborhoods, we can seek nature. Walk in parks, green spaces, or suburban forests. UK research found people in green neighborhoods half premature death risk. Green space exposure reduces stress, improves cortisol regulation, benefiting telomeres. Finally, let's explore exercise, sleep, and diet for telomere health. Telomeres don't require extreme training. All exercise types benefit telomeres. Regular exercisers have longer telomeres than inactive people. 2 types show strongest effects. 1. Moderate aerobic exercise. 45 minutes, 3 times a week for 6 months, doubles telomeres activity. 2. High-intensity interval training, AAT. Alternating intense recovery periods like sprints, jogs. Avoid overtraining. progress gradually. Sedentary people suddenly over-exercising risk injury and illness. We know quality sleep matters, but does it repair telomeres? Multi-region studies controlling variables confirm sufficient sleep maintains telomere length. 7 hours minimum is key. Less damages telomeres. This doesn't apply to naturally short sleepers, though. Listen to your body. If you feel daytime sleepiness, get more nighttime rest to protect telomeres. Beyond duration, sleep quality is equally crucial. People with good sleep quality can stabilize their telomeres and maintain their length. Regrettably, sleep timing and quality aren't fully under our control like exercise. Sometimes the more you try to sleep, the easier it is to have insomnia. The book introduces 5 good habits. 1. Turn off computer and phone screens in advance, allowing a 5-minute transition time to shift your attention. 2. Listen to soft, soothing music to calm your brain. 3. Create a relaxing atmosphere, such as using essential oils, fragrances, candles, and dimming the lights. 4. Brew a cup of herbal tea to help relax, but don't drink it right before sleeping, or you might wake up at night to use the bathroom. 5. Do some stretching before bed to relieve the day's fatigue, and then you can sleep soundly. Finally, let's talk about how to eat. For telomere health, it's best to eat more anti-inflammatory foods first, including fruits and vegetables rich in flavonoids and carotenoids, like blueberries, grapes, apples, broccoli, tomatoes, and scallions, as well as foods containing omega-3 fatty acids, such as fish, nuts, flax seeds, and some vegetables. This doesn't mean we recommend you take omega-3 supplements. Generally, it's best to get these nutrients from natural foods. If natural ingredients aren't easily available, then consider supplements and only take them with a doctor's approval. Additionally, consume more fiber-rich foods like whole wheat bread, brown rice, and barley. Reduce sugar intake to avoid sudden spikes in insulin, which can lead to insulin resistance. Insulin resistance refers to when the body's muscles, fat, and liver become less sensitive to insulin, causing reduced efficiency in insulin-promoting glucose uptake and utilization, leading to abnormal blood sugar metabolism. And a Dutch nutritional epidemiologist found that people who consume 550 milliliters of sugary soda daily age 4.6 years faster in terms of telomere shortening. Also, eat more fresh fruits and vegetables, especially citrus, apples, carrots, greens, etc., to get antioxidants that protect telomeres, but it might be hard to remember all these foods individually. And so in summary, for diet, choose more fresh, healthy, natural foods and avoid processed foods. For example, snacks, cured meats, etc. All of the above are practical suggestions from the authors based on telomere research, which can help ordinary people extend their healthy lifespan. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. If you want health and longevity, start acting on every thought, every workout, every meal, and every sleep. All right, that wraps up our discussion of the book Telomere. You can find the reading notes below the audio. We'll see you in the next episode.